Hi guys, it's Toya and I'm back again to share with you a new video, and this is going to be tips on how you can survive if you've been laid off. So if you are like me and you are home and you have no idea when this pandemic is going to be over and life will go back to normal, get a pen and paper and let's take some notes. I'm going to give you seven ways to adjust if you have been laid off. The first thing you need to do, if you've never done one before, is you need to make a budget. If you have no money coming in and you don't know what your obligations are in terms of money that needs to be going out, it's time for you to get on top of that immediately. You need to sit down and get a clear idea of what your cash outflows are, what your obligations are, and so you can know exactly what you need to tackle. So that's step number one, make a budget. If you've never made a budget before, get on it. There are lots of online applications you can download that'll show you how to do it very simply. Or if you know how to use Excel, just pull up an Excel spreadsheet, put all of your expenses in one column and track them, and you'll be able to see what your obligations are. You need to do that because you need to know exactly what the lay of the land is. If you don't know what's going on around you, then I can't help you. So the first step is going to be make a budget, number one. Number two, cull. Culling essentially means cutting. Now that you've got a full list of everything that you spend on, I need you to sit down and get rid of anything that's not essential. This means no luxury expenses are necessary at this time. So if you love to get your nails done every 2 weeks, or if you have your lashes done ever so often, ladies, or guys, if you're the type of person who likes to pay someone to wash your car and that's a cost that you incur ever so often, I need you to cut that out. You have to cut it out because essentially you have no money coming in. And if you have no money coming in, you need to be smart about where your money is going. So this is no time for luxurious living, at least if you are in a position where you don't have a job right now. If you've been laid off, this is essentially for you. I'm not speaking to the fortunate few who are still able to work remotely or whose bosses are still paying them over the pandemic for the period so their lifestyle hasn't changed. I'm speaking to those of us who are unemployed currently, but our expenses remain the same. This is a time for you to make that budget and cut the unnecessary spending right out. Obviously, it goes without saying that you need to do that so that you can be on top of all of your expenses so that you know exactly where you're going. So that's the reason why you have to cut. You need to cut because unnecessary things have no place when you have no money coming in. You don't want to be trying to go and swipe your card and there are insufficient funds and it's embarrassing. You don't want to be writing bounce checks. You need to know that the money isn't there, so this is a time for you to cut some things out. So that's number two. Number three, stock taking. Stock taking essentially is what auditors do at the end of every fiscal year. If you're an accountant, you know what I mean. They go around and they look at every single thing that a company has in inventory to get a clear idea of exactly what is the value assigned to that entity. So for you, you look at yourself as a business and you say, I need to take stock of essentially what runs Toya Turner Inc. So for me, I would say, I have a home. What is the value of my home? I have a car. What is the value of my car? I have other assets. What are the values assigned to each of those assets? And comparatively, after you've done your assets, you also need to do your liabilities. So you need to say, I have a home. My home has a mortgage attached of X dollars. I have a home that has insurance liabilities of Y dollars, APUA, every single thing that comes down under it. I need to know exactly what the liabilities are attached to each asset. And then what you need to do after you do that is then you need to immediately contact any company that you owe and ask for a deferral or a moratorium on your mortgage or your loan. Most of the banks are already doing that. First Caribbean, I know, is giving 6 months, a 6-month moratorium on all mortgages and loans and credit cards. Some banks are offering 3 months, but it is up to you and incumbent on you to assume the personal responsibility to contact those financial institutions and explain your situation and ask for the deferral. Now, I'll just say that if you do have money coming in, I wouldn't recommend taking the deferral, because all it means is that you still have to pay it. It's just been postponed for a little while. So if you can afford to pay it and keep on the schedule that you already have, I recommend that you do that. So that would be number 3. Number 4, update your resume. You are out of work. You are unemployed. We don't know when this is going to end. And despite anybody's best guesses, nobody knows. So that means that you could sit down out of work without money coming in for months. That is simply not tenable unless you've got yourself a very healthy emergency fund. So if you don't have an emergency fund and you need to find money quickly, it's time for you to get cracking, dust off your resume, update it with all the skills that you've acquired over the last however long, and get out there and get job hunting. Now, there are going to be very, very few jobs available. Let's just keep it real, especially in the Caribbean, because we have few industries. But for the jobs that are out there, that means competition is going to be stiff. And if you need ideas on how to update your resume or how to ace an interview, I've done videos on that already for you that you can find them in the description below. Number 5, raise cash. Does it make sense to have money sitting in your closet and none in your pocketbook? No, it doesn't. I'll answer it for you. It doesn't. So that essentially means find anything that you can sell and sell it, honey. Sell it and make money, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to bring in income in the short term to keep you afloat. This is the time when the secondhand economy and secondhand shops are going to get piled up with stuff, because everybody's going to be trying to offload the things that they can sell. So you need to be on the ball as well, offloading items and trying to sell. If you can't sell, maybe you can swap. Maybe you've got a friend who has something that you need that you can't afford to necessarily buy in cash, but you can give them something in exchange. So the barter economy comes into play here, and you need to get involved in that and find ways to liquidate assets and get yourself something that's useful to you, either in cash or in kind. Selling, hustling, swapping, those are the things you need to keep in mind right now. Those are the easy ways that you can make money, and you need to look into all of those things. Number 6, online income. Right now, traditional ways of working are taking a hit, but what's thriving right now is online businesses. So if you have a way that you can get into the online forums, either through creating a product, a digital product of some kind, or getting a job in a company that is digital and works in the online space, where you can work remotely from home, you should do that. There's telemarketing, there is proofreading, there's translations. There are a few things that you can do from the comfort of your home, assuming that you have internet access. So think of it this way. You sell a bag, you get enough money to pay your internet bill, you get a job, and you make more money. So there's something to look into right away, is to start looking at areas that you can work in the virtual space. Ask for help. This may seem like a no-brainer, but a lot of people don't do it. And I would say that you need to approach the people that you owe outside of the banks and start talking to them about potentially deferrals or discounts or loan forgiveness, if possible. Because what's going to happen essentially is everybody's in the same boat. So if you think about it, it's going to be the floodgates are going to open. Right now, it might just be us who work in tourism, but eventually it's going to be the people who work in all of those ancillary industries that directly depend on tourism or directly depend on the spending power of the population. So eventually everyone is going to be feeling what we're feeling right now. It might just take them a bit longer. So you need to get in before the floodgates open and start negotiating for yourself before everyone is doing the same thing. Okay? Nobody's coming to save you. You know, I've said this before and I'll say it again. You need to get up and save yourself. So this means that if you find yourself in a predicament and you don't know what to do, you need to look within, take the time to get quiet and start strategizing exactly how you're going to get out of the situation that you're in. And so far, I've given you quite a few tips that I think work and that have worked for me in the past. I would say another thing that you could potentially consider doing in closing would be to cancel If you've got a Netflix subscription or maybe Apple automatic payments that come out right now for things that you don't necessarily need, this would be the time to stop those, because those tend to add up. So cancel all the subscriptions for things that cost you a couple dollars, because everything multiplies. So essentially it could turn out to be a big lump of cash that you could use for something else. So cancel all unnecessary subscriptions now. That's an easy thing that you can do in the short term that'll help you out in the long term. Call in any debt. If anybody owes you money, sorry, I need it. That's an easy thing you can do now as well to try and make some extra cash. Do any returns for any items you ordered, or cancel any orders you've made that haven't come in yet, and see if you can get the money put back onto your card. It's something else you can think about doing very quickly. And in closing, I would say it's a good time for you to do an audit of your entire life. This is a time for you to start thinking about, are you in the job that you love? Are you making the kind of money you need now that you've done your budget? Are you making enough to keep yourself afloat? What are the values that you hold? You know, are you spending unnecessarily on things that you really don't need to be spending on? Is this a good time for you to reevaluate those things as well? Where you're living, the person you're with, are they an asset to you or another liability? Something else to think about. It's going to be a difficult time, guys, and I'm not going to pretend that I have it all figured out, but having navigated something like this before, you know, it doesn't necessarily shake me. So it's put me in the unique position of being able to speak to you very definitively on things that I know work. So I have a couple more videos that are already loaded where I talk about how to interview well, how to dust off your resume, and how to get yourself back out there if you're looking for work. And this is another one for you to add to the repertoire, because I know that there are a lot of people out there just like me who are going to be needing to start thinking about what's going to happen in the next couple months. We're hoping for the best, but you know, hope for the best, expect the worst. I think that's what they say, and that's a smart thing for you to do. So if you've been laid off and you have no money coming in, after you've cried, after you've shaken yourself off, it's time for you to get to business and get cracking and try to figure out how to navigate this successfully. So I hope this helps you. If you know anyone who's been laid off and who is down in the dumps, show them this video. This is no time for you to be in the dumps. The time that you spend feeling sorry for yourself is time you're wasting putting the pieces back together. This is no time to cry. I don't believe in that. I believe in accepting what it is immediately and forging forward right away. Cry later, not now. So for those of you who've been laid off, I hope you find this video useful, and I'll be coming to you with another one very soon. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.